Hello Hanji Kidda, what's up people? Back with another video, and today we're previewing Nottingham Forest versus Ipswich Town. Before we get into anything though, you know we got to do the shout outs. Massive shout outs to Angel Care Homes for all your care needs in the Black Country and Birmingham area. Massive shout outs to Mark Darcy for all your formal menswear needs. And of course to Desi Ballers, highlighting all South Asians at all levels in the beautiful game. I'll put their details in the description, so make sure you check them out. And if you haven't already, or if you're brand new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and turn the notifications on. We want to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the season. We've been going less than a year and we're already at 1K, so hopefully we can do it. So if you have subscribed, tell your friends and family, or if you haven't, then just click it. It's free. You ain't got to pay nothing. But yeah, man, let's get to it. So on Saturday, we'll be playing Forest for the first time since 2019. Obviously, the last time we played them was when we was in the Championship, that relegation season. And I know the less said about that season, the better. We played them in March 2019 at Portman Road. That did finish 1-1. Can you tell me which big German striker scored within 5 minutes for us? And which former Town player was starting up front for Forest that day as well? Put your answers in the comments. But it finished 1-1. And a bit of a fun fact here, Ryan Yates, who's been, tearing up the Premier League this season with them, he was starting that game in 2019 for Forest against us. And now to see, obviously, he's progressed and he's now become an established Premier League player. Very similar to what we're hoping some of our players can do and, have done so far. And then, so if you look at the last recent 5 games, again, over those they've won 3 of them. There's been 1 draw and we've won 1 of them. And that win came in December 2017 at home, and we finished 4-2 winners that day. So, that was the last time we beat them. If you want to talk about last time we beat them at the City Ground, you've got to go back to December 99. And it was a 1-0 win. We beat him at the City Ground. David Johnson, who was unlucky not to get a penalty, I think, in that first half. Magilton was brilliant that game. And then, I can't remember, the ball comes in. I can't remember who crosses it. But Johnson was it a header? It goes straight at their keeper, Bassett. I think Johnson went to go get the rebound, but Captain Fantastic, Mr. Matty Holland was there. Johnny on the spot to stab the ball home. And we took all 3 points that season on our way to getting promoted to the Premier League. Now, last time we played him in the Premier League, well, there's only actually been 4 times that Ipswich and Nottingham Forest have played each other in the Prem. A little bit before my time. Like I said, I started following Town in 95, 96 when I was about 8 or 9. But the last times we played them were in the Premier League seasons before that, so like 93, 94, or 92, 93, 94 even. I had to write this down because I don't remember the game, obviously, so here we go. 4 games in the Prem. There's been 2 wins for Forest and 2 wins for Town. So, split on as even. Last time we played Forest in the Prem, it finished 4-1 to Nottingham Forest. Stan Collymore was on the score sheet. Stuart Pearce and Haaland. Not Erling, but the original Haaland made the score sheet as well. But then last time we beat him in the Premier League, you've got to go back to December 1992. That was away at the Forest Ground, and Jason Dazelle was on the score sheet that day to make it 1-0 to Town. So, not been many meetings over recent history, and it's going to be the first time that Kieran McKenna puts his team up against Nottingham Forest. It's going to be the first time that Ipswich will come against a Nottingham Forest, or Nuno's Nottingham Forest anyway. Not the first time we played or been up against a Nuno team. We had that with Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Championship before. So in terms of Nottingham Forest, I mean, very much like Town, they were away from the Premier League for many years. I think they were out of the Premier League for 23 years before they were eventually promoted 3 years ago. Signed something like 30 signings during that season. So, really splashed the cash, really made a commitment to stay up. Steve Cooper, obviously, who's now been sacked from Leicester, but he did a fantastic job getting them there in the first place and then stabilising them. And they've had some quality players join. So and I'll go through their lineup in a bit, or predicted lineup, but they've got some real good talented players there. and this is 3 years later from being in the Premier League. They like to be a controversy, so obviously, as we have seen, VAR, PGMOL can be a bit of a joke. If I remember correctly, was it last season where their admin took it to Twitter to basically call out VAR as a whole and the PGMOL? I think they got fined for that, didn't they? But yeah, they hey, fair enough. And then in March this year, obviously they got the points deduction or found guilty of breaching FFP rules or whatever. And I think they were given a 6 points deduction, which might have then been reduced to 4 points. Didn't affect them because they managed to stay up. And over the summer, Nuno looks to have changed his formation slightly. So, when we think of Nuno Espirito Santos, I remember his time at Wolverhampton Wanderers. 5 at the back was his tradition. I know he tried it at Tottenham when he went there as well. And certainly in his first season at Forest, it looked like he was doing that last season for him. But this season, he switched it up slightly, and it looks to have gone for a 4-2-3-1. So if we look at their lineup for the last game against Arsenal, yes, I know there's a few injuries there, which has meant players have been shifted around. But I think this is going to be a very similar formation. The only differences we'd see on that formation is Ryan Yates probably drop back to where Ward-Prowse is, and Ward-Prowse drop out of the team. Morgan Gibbs-White to then come in as the number 10, and then Chris Wood to come in up top as well. But I think that would be their formation. I think that's the personnel I expect them to play. And when you look at that front four, even that midfield, I mean, I don't know, and I haven't seen too much of Dominguez other than just seeing some of his stats online. Ryan Yates, like I said, player that's come through the leagues and, a solid player. I think he's on yellow card, so he might have, a bit like Sammy, might be on a bit of a tightrope. It'll be an interesting battle between the two of them. But yeah, they've got a very good midfield and attacking lineup, and you can see that they've built up the team over time. And then if you look at their last 5 results, so Forest started fantastically, and I think at one point in the season they were actually 3rd. I know they're 7th now, and I'm sure most Forest fans would absolutely love that. They haven't won in the last couple of games, so they've had 2. If we look at their last 5 games as an example, they had 3 wins and then they had 2 losses. Last loss was against Arsenal. Yes, Arsenal playing fantastic football and arguably one of the strongest teams in the league. But they did lose. Was it 3-1 as well to Newcastle, which I think Forest fans and Forest players would have felt they could have and should have got more out of that game. So they are coming off the back of 2 defeats. We're hoping to make it 3. But it's easier said than done. You look at that squad. People like James Ward-Prowse don't even make the squad. They don't make the starting 11. Morgan Gibbs-White, I remember him coming through at Wolverhampton. I think Nuno gave him his chance there. He then went out on loan. Was it to Sheffield United? Did quite well there. And then when he signed for Forest, I don't think he really hit the ground running, and I think he was a bit of a slow starter. But he's been fantastic for him. He's really transitioned into a number 10, whereas coming through at Wolves, I think he was more of an 8. But he looks a quality player. Really, really, lots of talent there. Callum Hudson-Odoi, I remember not so long ago, Chelsea talking about him being the next star boy, all the rest of it. Didn't really work out for him at Chelsea, but just because it doesn't work out there doesn't mean you can't kick on at other clubs. Just like we've taken Amari from Chelsea, they took Hudson-Odoi. Anelanga, he was a player that was on my wish list for the summer if we could have get him, but, very good player. And it's going to be interesting down that wing. So, they've got the wingers to hurt us, and the main man up top, Chris Wood, once upon a time played for us. The big New Zealand international, Mr. Tommy Smith's mate. And he's been banging in goals for fun. He was out injured against Arsenal, but I'm expecting him to return, or a little birdie tells me that he'll be in the squad on Saturday. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top out of the strikers on Saturday, because there are, outside of your top 6 and all the rest of it, these are probably the best 2 strikers of the rest. When you say best of the rest striker-wise, it's probably going to be Delap and Chris Wood, isn't it? And then for us, in terms of formation, I expect us to go 4-2-3-1 again. We know, obviously, Phillips has had a knock and Ben Johnson is probably not going to be out. So Same sort of injury news, and obviously Hurst is out till Jan, if not longer. I do expect Greaves to be back in the squad, but does he start, Town fans? Would you take out Burgess and put Greaves back in? Or does he have to earn his place? Because Burgess has been fantastic since he's come back in. I think it would be harsh if he's dropped, but, you play your best 11. Is Jacob Greaves going to offer us something better than Cameron Burgess? I don't know. What are your thoughts? You tell me in the comments. But yeah, I expect Greaves to be at least on the bench, but he'll be in the squad. It was good to see, obviously, Jack Taylor come off the bench last week. I think we're going to go through the same team. I think we're going to, again, we'll match him on a 4-2-3-1. We'll go, obviously, Aro in goal, Davis left back. I think Greaves come in. So Davis, Greaves, O'Shea, and Axel, Big Axe. Kayust and Sammy in the midfield. That partnership looks amazing at the moment. Last 2 games, they look phenomenal. And then the front three, Smodics, Amari, and Wes Burns, who I thought had a really good game against Man United on Sunday. And, of course, Liam Delap up front. It's a team there that I'm looking at that can, attack and defend and hopefully hit Forest on the break and get a few counter-attacking goals. So the man in the middle is a man called Tony Harrington. Tony Harrington has refereed Ipswich a total of 8 times over the last few years. We haven't had him in the Premier League. He is fairly new to Premier League refereeing. I think he's done about 25, 26 games during his career in the Prem. But most of his games, 100, 150 odd, I think it was, maybe even more, were in the Championship. Which is obviously when we've had him referee for us or against us, depending on how you look at it. So there's been 8 games that he's refed for Ipswich Town. 6 of those ended in defeat, 1 draw. And the only time we've won a game where Tony Harrington refed was back in December 2013 when we beat Doncaster. Last time we actually had Tony Harrington referee us was back in 2018. And that was a 2-0 away loss. I'm sure it was away. But it was a 2-0 loss to Hull. So I'm hoping fortunes have changed. Doesn't seem to be much controversy. He's been in a few games with refereeing and VAR decisions with Wolves last season, I think, where Gary O'Neill called it out. I think even with Forest, I think they called it out as well. But he wasn't the VAR or the referee. I think he was the 4th official. So it doesn't, not really had any major controversies. So I'm not expecting anything major. And I'm hoping, just like Anthony Taylor last week, he has a good game. And like I said, Anthony Taylor was, that performance against United and Ipswich, that was probably the best, referee performance I've seen following Town. Probably maybe in the last 3 or 4 years, certainly post-COVID, really. So here's a couple of little stats, look, we're doing little graphics and all the rest of it. Here we go. So, obviously, the season so far, these stats are all just based on the Premier League fixtures this season, so the 12 that we've played. We are just under a third away from the season. So as you can see, Forest have won 5 games to our 1. They've obviously drawn 4, we've drawn 6, and they only lost 3, whereas we've lost 5. Interestingly, scored about the similar amount of goals. So, obviously they've got 15, we've got 13. But goals conceded, we've conceded 10 more goals than them. And if I think 9 goals were just between City and West Ham. So the goals conceded, whilst yes, at the moment, a bit of alarm bells, but we're bringing that down and we're improving performances. And they've got 4 clean sheets to our 1. In terms of defensively, how we looked and how we fare against one another. So as you can see, Aro's made more saves than their keeper. Tackles, they've just edged it with 216 to 200. And obviously the tackle success rate is then slightly higher as well. Again, block shots, they're higher on that. Interceptions, just ahead on the interceptions. Clearances, just ahead on the clearances. And errors leading to goals, which is obviously important. They've got 0, we've got 5. Which again we've started to cut out, so That's obviously looking a lot better. And then in terms of the midfield and the passing and the teamwork, so we have completed more passes than them so far this season, as you can see, and our passes per match are slightly higher than theirs, and our pass accuracy is slightly higher as well. Crossing, they have put in more crosses. However, our cross accuracy is just a bit higher. So when we look at that midfield kind of thing, those stats there are favourable to us. That's the one thing where the one area of the pitch that we seem to be doing better than them on. And then when we look at the attacking stats, so again, both of us have created 22 big chances. That's kind of mad that we've created both the same amount. But 22 big chances. They edge it with the goals per game with 1.25 to 1.08. Again, they've had more shots than us, more shots on target, a higher shot accuracy, just slightly. And they've scored one penalty. I think they've only been awarded one penalty, so they've got 100%. Maybe I need to change that stat there, and we need to say completion rate or penalty conversion rate or whatever. But we've had no penalties. So again, they've edged that part, but not massively. And again, as we've seen, we've scored similar amount of goals. But I think it's going to be a very interesting game because I've seen Nuno a lot over the years, family being Wolves fans, and obviously saw what he did at Wolverhampton Wanderers. The five at the back hasn't really worked out for him this season, but he seemed to adapt it to a 4-2-3-1. It allows him that I watched the game where they played Leicester, and I know it's a derby, but they really pressed Leicester well. So, Leicester would kind of trying to play through the lines or play through the thirds as it's called or whatever. And Leicester were Forest were just getting in their face and they were shutting them down, and very quickly they were able to transition from defence to attack. Very similar to what McKenna gets us to do. So, similar with that high risk, high reward football that I've talked about before. I think that's similar to what Forest have got at the moment. So it's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, they've lost their last two games, so they're going to be looking for a win in front of their home fans. And I think it's going to be quite tough as well. I think, our defence is going to be quite hard. Well, our defence is going to have quite a hard time against, that front four. But I think we've got enough on the other side to hit them on the counter, hit them on the break, and get a goal or two and hopefully get a win. We showed the quality away at Tottenham. We've shown it at Brentford. So I think as long as we cut out those mistakes, we'll be absolutely fine. And I am backing us. I'm confident. But again, this is Nottingham Forest at home, who've been very good at home, in front of their fans. And like I said, they're coming into this game on the back of 2 defeats. Before that, it was 3 wins on the spin. They need to get back to winning ways. I'm sure Nuno's going to have them drilled and wanting to do that, and the hunger amongst that team will be there. So whilst I would love to say, we're going to go there and win 2-1, 3-1 or whatever, it's going to be hard. So I'm going to go again for the same score I said over the last 2 weeks. I'm going for a Desmond 2-2. So hopefully this video has given you some info that you needed. Hopefully it's been insightful. Like I said, I'm planning to do that for all the games now. So every game will have a match preview, a match vlog, and then a match review. There'll be 3 separate videos on them. The idea is I can give you a bit more details and analysis and get out the videos a little quicker for you guys as well. That's all based on your feedback, what you guys have been telling me anyway. So big up all you legends that have subscribed and engaged with the channel. And let me know your thoughts, man. How do you think we're going to do on Saturday? Do you think that we can win? Or Forest fans, how do you see Town coming up against you? Is it a game that you fear, or are you looking at it with ease? What are the thoughts there? So I'd be interested to read those comments there. And yeah, if you're brand new here, or if you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you smash the like button and turn the notifications on. Like I said, I want to build this channel. I want to make it as big as possible. And all you legends that engage, give me some brilliant ideas. So hopefully, more and more stuff coming over the next weeks, months, etc. And yeah, man, I'll see you all at the City Ground on Saturday. Catch you later, peeps.